Welcome to the final transfer tips video of this season. Ahead of Game Week 38, we're going to be talking about 12 players as usual to buy, wholesale and skip. Let me know if there are any other players that you would include in each section. And let's get this video to 200 likes. We're very close to the 11,000 subscribers milestone, so it'd be much appreciated if you smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Thank you very much to everyone who has done so already, and be sure to check the description below for the Discord server. It'd be a pleasure to have you on there as well, and to check the perks to become a Patreon and channel member. Thank you very much to everyone. All the support is much appreciated throughout the season. In terms of the rank on the left hand side, that is an update. This is following the Liverpool versus Southampton game where I actually went down to maybe 19-20k, but I'll provide a full breakdown of my Game Week 37 performance in my team selection video where I'll be talking about my transfer plans there. So be sure to check that out, and let's get straight into this one. First up, we have Ryan Sessegnon, and he's going to be a very popular transfer this week. I actually had him on my bench in my free hit team, and he got 8 points. So a clean sheet there against Burnley and 2 bonus points. Now, you can see the stats on screen. Let me know what you think of them, and the same goes for all of these players. But I'm also going to talk about some recent stats, which you won't see on screen. So in his last 7 games, he's got all of his goal contributions. So 3 assists in 7 games is a very respectable figure, especially for a wing back. He's got 5 shots overall, 5 shots inside the box. His XG is nothing great, but what he does offer is creativity. His XG is almost free, so there's not actually a huge overperformance. If anything, the underlying numbers are actually matching the assist figure. He's created 6 big chances, so Sessegnon has been very, very good since coming into the team, and with Reguilon out until the end of the season, Spurs haven't actually missed him so much. I mean, you compare it to Arsenal, for example, missing Tierney and then downgrade to Nuno Tavares. Well, Sessegnon is a capable replacement, and you have to give him credit for that. He's been a very, very good understudy, and now he's probably the first choice left wing back for Tottenham Hotspur. So let me know what you think of Ryan Sessegnon. Are you bringing him in this week? I think he's probably the best defender under 4.5 million. And the fact that he's only 4.3 million, he's facing Norwich away, I think it could be a great transfer for your FPL team. Next up is Ivan Toney. He's had good stats across the whole season, considering the fact they only started around 6.5 million. He had a bit of a slow start, and a lot of us, like myself, only really had him for one haul that he got against Wolves. I think he got 12 points in that game, but he's definitely stepped it up in the last 10 game weeks or so. And what I really want to highlight is his performances since game week 28. So in 10 appearances, Toney has 6 goals and 3 assists. His stats exactly match those outputs. So 6.34 XG, and his XA is 3.23. 11 big chances in that time period with 4 big chances created. So very good underlying numbers. 33 shots overall, so he's averaging 3.3 shots per game, and 28 shots inside the box, which is very good numbers. He only has 10 shots on target in 10 appearances, which isn't the greatest, but the shot volume is good. The underlying numbers are pretty healthy, and that Leeds fixture at home, I could see Ivan Toney getting a return or two. And I think Ivan Toney and Eriksen right now are the best Brentford assets. There's also Rico Henry, who's also a decent one at the back, and Raya in goal. But ultimately, Ivan Toney for me is the best Brentford asset, and I'd highly recommend him. If you're looking for another striker, and maybe to replace Timo Pukki's facing Tottenham, or you're not too sure on Nketiah facing Everton, and then you have the likes of Kane and Vardy who are standouts this week, the other one that really stands out for me is Ivan Toney in Game Week 38. Luis Diaz has been one of the best January signings in recent years, and one of the best signings this season. Now, I want to point specifically towards Game Week 31. So in that time period since Game Week 31, he's got 6 appearances, 2 goals and 3 assists. His XG and XA are under 2, so they're nothing special. He's got 2 big chances and 2 big chances created. Even one of the goals he scored in that time period was a bit fortuitous against Spurs. But I have to say, Diaz, I think, is a very good punt for the final match day. And also, his ownership is very impressive and very appealing to me. So I think his ownership is now under 6%. That might go up by the time of this video is released, and also by the time the deadline passes. But I would highly recommend Diaz, especially if you're looking for a way to fund a move to Harry Kane, Heung-min Son or Kevin De Bruyne, but you still want to cover Liverpool attack. I think they will score a few past Wolves. And what I really like about Diaz now, and he was actually in this list before the Southampton game, is the fact that he was rested completely. So I'm very, very much interested in Diaz. I think he's a great purchase around his price, and other than Mason Mount, I think no one else really stands out in that price bracket. Maybe Phil Foden, who you'd also expect to start against Aston Villa. But Luis Diaz for me is definitely a great signing for you. And even though his numbers aren't anything special, since Game Week 31, his XG is actually slightly higher than Salah, 1.84 compared to Salah's 1.45. And speaking of Salah, he's next up in this video. Salah has had an unbelievable campaign. I think a lot of people will forget that, and recency bias is a huge thing in football in my opinion, because no one's really discussing him for player of the season, but he's got the most goals and he's got the most assists. Yes, in the second half of the season he hasn't been anywhere near as good as the first, but that first half, I'm telling you, that's like literally up there with the very best players in the world like Benzema at the moment. So I think he deserves a bit more credit, obviously since Game Week 31 specifically, because obviously we've talked about his stats for the whole season multiple times in these videos and they're absolutely incredible, but they have definitely dropped off. In the last 7 games, he's got 2 goals and 3 assists, and I think one of those goals was a penalty, which is still a goal, of course. I'm just pointing that out. His XG is 1.45, which is very low for Salah standards. His XA is 2.4. 2 big chances in 7 games is very low for Mohamed Salah. Before that, you know, he had multiple big chances throughout the whole campaign, and he's got 4 big chances created. So overall, the shot volume is also dipping. Only 16 shots in 7 games, which isn't very good for Salah standards. He normally has a lot more shots than that. 14 inside the box. Only 3 shots on target in 7 appearances since Game Week 31. This is dreadful. You look at on screen and the shot volume is incredible throughout the whole season, but he hasn't done it since coming back from the African Cup of Nations, and specifically since Game Week 31. So very worrying, but I would hold him against Wolves unless you're selling Mohamed Salah to get Heung-min Son, Kevin De Bruyne or Harry Kane. I think all 3 of those premiums are definitely worth a switch. Now Sadio Mane is a very good punt for the final game week of the season. He's got low ownership. He done it last campaign against Crystal Palace on the final day. He's got a good record against Wolves. So that could be a decent like-for-like switch, which is risky, but could pay off. However, I wouldn't take a -4 from Salah to Mane, but I would definitely consider it from Salah to one of those players I mentioned. So Kevin De Bruyne, Harry Kane or Heung-min Son. Let me know what you're doing with Salah. I think other than those 3 players that I mentioned, I wouldn't take a hit for any other player, but I would consider a like-for-like transfer for free from Salah to Sadio Mane. But for anyone else, even the likes of Mason Mount, who's got a great fixture, I wouldn't sell Mohamed Salah. The second hold of this video is Mason Mount. It's a bit of a simple one, you know, he's facing Watford at home, but some people think he's going to be benched and others think that he's just not worth it after missing a penalty in FA Cup final. I said this in previous videos as well. Everyone misses crucial penalties, even the very best. Ronaldo did so in a Champions League final. Messi has in very big occasions as well. Everyone has. Maradona, Pele, you name it. Everyone misses penalties. Mason Mount, though, is still a quality player. 11 goals and 11 assists for the whole season with good underlying numbers, especially around his price. 9 big chances and 9 big chances created. And Mount is a flat track bully. He's got 7 goals and 4 assists against the bottom 3. I would expect him to add to that against Watford, so I definitely would recommend keeping him. Now, once again, since Game Week 31, in 7 appearances, 3 goals and 3 assists for Mason Mount, which is pretty decent. The underlying numbers aren't that great. Only 1 big chance and 1 big chance created, and his XG is 1.59 and his expected assist is 1.54. But the XG is still higher than Mohamed Salah, which isn't saying much to be fair because he's been pretty dismal in recent weeks. But Mason Mount is still worth keeping. I wouldn't consider selling him unless you're going to Heung-min Son, but either way, I'd still find a way of keeping Mason Mount and finding another route and avenue to Heung-min Son. So for me, Mason Mount is definitely worth a hold. The final hold of this video is Jarrod Bowen. Back-to-back double-digit returns against the likes of Manchester City. He also scored against Arsenal a few weeks back. Jarrod Bowen has had an incredible season. 12 goals and 7 assists. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the campaign, especially when actually in the first 4 game weeks it was Benrahma and Antonio combining and they were the 2 West Ham assets of choice. But since Game Week 5, Jarrod Bowen hasn't looked back and these stats are incredible. There is a huge overperformance in the expected assists compared to the actual assists, but the XG does match the actual goal output there. 62 shots inside the box, 78 shots overall and 34 on target. Decent numbers. 20 big chances, 9 big chances created. He has been fantastic. He definitely has a case to be in the England squad and he should also probably be in the PFA team of the season as well. But when we look at Jarrod Bowen in the last 7 game weeks, so since he returned from injury, he's got 4 goals and 4 assists. So it's like he never missed out again. He's been absolutely incredible and there's actually a huge overperformance in the numbers. So his XG is 1.95. He's got 4 goals and his expected assist is 0.96 and he's got 4 assists once again. 3 big chances and 1 big chance created. Now, he doesn't need that many chances to score goals. He's been quite clinical and he faces Brighton in the last game of the season. I think that's a tough fixture for both Brighton and West Ham. I could easily see a draw. I think it was a 1-1 draw in the reverse fixture. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that was the case once again. Let me know if you're keeping Jarrod Bowen. Of course, if it's your only route to Mason Mount, Heung-min Son and some of these other top midfielders with great fixtures, then fair enough, you could sell Jarrod Bowen. But in most cases, I would easily keep Jarrod Bowen. We're now in the sell section, and bear in mind this video is recorded before the second set of double Gameweek 37 fixtures, so things could change by the time you watch this video. But in terms of Matty Cash, 3 goals and 3 assists, and the XG and the XA matched that, kind of a consistent theme throughout all of these players that we talked about in this very video. But since double Gameweek 28, where he got 1 goal and 2 assists and one of the biggest hauls in FPL history, he's got 0 goals and 0 assists in 9 appearances since Gameweek 29. That's very, very poor. His XG is 1.12 and his XA is 0.33. So maybe he was a bit unlucky not to get a goal, but still, no goals, no assists, and not that many FPL points, not that many clean sheets. He was getting some recently, but unfortunately he didn't get one in the first game of Gameweek 37. Only 1 big chance, 0 big chances created, and 3 key passes, 7 shots overall, 5 inside the box, and obviously 5 on target there as well. So Matty Cash hasn't been that good. Either way, you already know the main reason why I'm saying he should be a sell. Not because of these poor underlying numbers in the last 9 appearances, it's because he's facing Manchester City away. Now you never know, maybe Villa will do the unthinkable and actually help Liverpool win the title, but ultimately I don't see Villa keeping a clean sheet here. And while Matty Cash could get an attacking return, if you look at the last 9 appearances, if they're anything to go by, you would probably expect nothing there in that regard. So ultimately you're looking at a 2-pointer or maybe even less in most occasions. Let me know what you think of this one, but I think Matty Cash, the same goes for any other Villa defender or even Emi Martinez if you can, would be worth selling. While you could definitely argue that Aston Villa attackers are actually worth keeping more so than the defenders, I still would sell any Aston Villa asset. That includes Coutinho, Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings. He hasn't had a great stay at Aston Villa so far. He's been quite underwhelming, and if we actually look at recent stats for Danny Ings, in the last 7 games he only has 2 goals and 1 assist. Hopefully he starts the second game in Gameweek 37. I would be a bit worried about that. His XG is 2.71, his expected assist is under 1, nothing special there. 5 big chances in 7 games, and he's had 19 shots, 18 of them inside the box. So whilst he could still score against Manchester City and do the unthinkable, I would still sell Danny Ings, and the same goes for any Aston Villa asset. I personally think City will win, probably by 2 or 3 goals, and they will wrap up the title, but you never know. Football's a funny game. Back your gut on this one, but ultimately I think there are many strikers that have a better fixture in Gameweek 38 and that have a higher chance of getting a return. The final sell of this video is Kai Havertz. If you look at his numbers throughout the whole season, they're pretty decent. Nothing spectacular, but 15 big chances does stand out, and he should have scored more goals. His XG is almost 9, and he's only got 7 goals. And ultimately, he's also been quite underwhelming this season. Everyone would have thought he would have pushed on after his goals in the Champions League final and the Club World Cup final. But what I really want to highlight is the fact that in the last 7 games since Gameweek 31, he's got 1 goal and 1 assist. His XG is 2.45. For example, that game against Man United, he should have scored some goals there. His expected assist is 1.17, and he's had 5 big chances. So definitely, underperformance is the story of Kai Havertz's season. But right now, he's currently being assessed, and he could be back in the squad against Leicester tomorrow, but keep an eye on that one. And even if he starts against Watford, which to be honest I wouldn't be so sure of, Lukaku seems now to be the main striker once again after his recent good form, I just wouldn't be convinced about Kai Havertz, and for me Mason Mount is definitely the better option in FPL, so I would sell Kai Havertz. Romelu Lukaku has always been a skip in these videos whenever I've discussed him, which is a bit unfortunate. He has been in good form recently. He's actually played himself into the team once again, and to be fair, Kai Havertz's injury also plays a part in that. But 2 goals against Wolves, I think that penalty just completely changed the mood surrounding him, and it also has given him more confidence, and he scored a very good second goal there against Wolves. He's got 3 goals in his last 2 appearances, a very small sample size, but he hasn't really started that many games before that period, so it's quite difficult to comment on those numbers when ultimately it probably isn't fair enough on Lukaku and his prospects as an FPL asset. His XG is 1.37 in the last 2 games, pretty decent. 10 shots in 2 appearances, so he's averaging 5 shots per game in that time. Obviously very small sample size, but still 8 shots inside the box and 4 on target and 1 big chance. So Lukaku is worth considering, but I think Vardy and Harry Kane are definitely worth it over the likes of Lukaku, and you could even go for Ivan Toney and invest more in your midfield with the likes of Salah, Mane, Kevin De Bruyne, Heung-min Son of course. I think there are just better options, and Lukaku hasn't done it consistently enough this season. And once again, you look at Chelsea, I think Mason Mount, Marcos Alonso and Reece James would all be better options for Chelsea than Romelu Lukaku. So for me, I would skip the Belgian. Rafinha has featured a lot in these videos throughout the whole season, and if you look at the numbers on screen, they're pretty decent. You know, he should have got more assists. I always say this, there is a huge underperformance there. He's been unlucky, and his XG is now kind of matching what he's done so far, although there's still a slight overperformance. But what I really want to highlight is that ever since Marcelo Bielsa was sacked after that defeat against Tottenham in Game Week 27, since Game Week 28 in particular, Rafinha in 10 games has got 1 goal and 2 assists, and he's sometimes been playing as a right wing back, especially when they get a man sent off, like that game against Arsenal for example. His XG is 1.96 and his expected assist is 1.76, only 3 big chances and 2 big chances created. So Jesse Marsch hasn't been able to get the best out of Rafinha, and he is their best player, and they're ultimately, you know, very likely to go down. It's probably between them and Burnley, although you never know what's going to happen in football. But ultimately, I would skip Rafinha. He is not worth it. There could be a lot of goals in that game between Brentford and Leeds, but ultimately, I would not even consider Rafinha. If you have him, I would even consider selling him, especially to Kulusevski, Saka, and all these other options we've discussed today. I would just not go anywhere near him. The last player we're discussing in any of these transfer tips videos this season is Bruno Fernandes, one of the best FPL assets in the last few years. If you look at the goal output, it's actually pretty good for most footballers, but the standards that Bruno has set, it doesn't go anywhere near that, and he's just not really been a great FPL option all season. Obviously, there have been a few times where he has shone, like double Game Week 22, if I'm not mistaken, and also double Game Week 25 when I did captain him, and that last gasp goal against Brighton was definitely a turning point for me, and I was very happy with that. But ever since Game Week 27, remember we all got him in on the free hit in Game Week 27 against Watford, he missed constant chances, and he also could have squared it to Ronaldo. He was very poor in that game. In that time period, since that Game Week 27 blank game week, in 10 appearances, he's got 1 goal and 1 assist. His XG is 3.17, so he should have scored more goals. His expected assist is almost 2, so there has been an underperformance, but ultimately, I can't bring myself to recommend Bruno Fernandes. United are a disjointed team. Ranić hasn't been able to get the best out of Bruno Fernandes, and ultimately, he's had an underwhelming season. The numbers throughout the whole campaign, as you can see on screen, are very good, but he has underperformed, and ultimately, I wouldn't consider him with the amount of premiums that are definitely an option this week. Even Lukaku would be more of an option for me than Bruno Fernandes. Maybe next season things will change under Ten Hag and Bruno Fernandes will be worth considering once again. But for the final game week of the season, I wouldn't go for Bruno Fernandes. So that's it. We discussed 12 players once again. Thank you very much for your support throughout the whole season. It's very much appreciated as always. All the super chats throughout all the live streams, all the channel members, all the Patreons. Thank you so much. And also the subscribers. We're trying to get to 11,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get this video to 200 likes as well. It pushes up the algorithm and really helps out. So thank you very much for your support and all your feedback. It really helps out to grow this channel and improve the videos. And all the best of luck for the rest of Double Game Week 37, as well as the final game week of the season. You can also check out my F1 fantasy content ahead of Race Week 6 in Catalonia, as well as the Matchday 13 coverage ahead of the Champions League final next Sunday. So not this Sunday, but the one after. So it should be a blast. I wish you all the best in getting the ranks you want, as well as enjoying the football, which is the most important thing. And I'll see you next time.